I've been fighting for equality since I was a child. Being called a weirdo, being force fed drugs, being slammed to the floor, being raped. These aren't fun things. My fight for equality has been called hypocrisy by many. I'm going to tell you something. I treated everyone well, everyone, until I hurt my back. When I hurt my back, I was no longer a human being to anyone, not my friends, not my family, nobody, except for Natalie Marie Bollinger and Maddie Boa. I've said a lot of really mean things, and I'm not ashamed of saying those mean things. Brandon Jeffson wants to tell me how terrible homeless people are. Homeless people are this, homeless people are that. All the terrible things that I hear people say about black people, I hear them say about homeless people. All the terrible things that I hear people say about Native Americans, I hear them say about homeless people. Any group that you could possibly say hateful things about, I hear being said about the homeless people. The homeless people, most of them grew up in the system. Most of them grew up in foster care just like me. When I say those mean things and you don't like them and you want to throw a tantrum, keep in mind that you threw a tantrum because I said those things once to you. Whereas I took it while thousands of people said those things. I just took it. And you couldn't handle me saying it once. Shannon Alvarado kept on continually talking over me. She kept on screaming almost the whole time that I was there. Screaming. But I can't scream back or I'm a terrible person. Ask Dan Faber. Law enforcement judges all of us homeless people the same way as you do. And you say not all law enforcement is like that. Well, guess what? Not all homeless people are like that. I busted my ass for years. 4 years. Not able to get a loan. Having to buy piece of crap cars. Hoping that if I busted my ass hard enough, I would eventually be able to have a decent living. I would eventually be able to have what it is that most of the kids that I went to high school with had handed to them when they got out of high school. Handed to them. They say, I did it all myself. I earned that car all by myself. No, the fuck you didn't. You weren't paying your rent. You weren't paying for your food. Your summer job paid for that vehicle. But if you had to buy your own food and you had to pay for the roof over your head, you would have not had that vehicle. Over half of the kids that I went to high school with here in Chapel, Nebraska were given vehicles by their parents. I earned mine. Earned them. Sure, I didn't get a brand new fucking Pontiac. That's fine. All I could afford was a $300 vehicle. That's fine. At least I earned it. Without my mommy and daddy's help. I earned it. All pretty white girls are victims, isn't that right? All police officers are the good guys, isn't that right? Meanwhile, there's special rights for black people and for native people and for women. But if you're a white man, there's no special rights. You're to blame for everything. A rich man fucks us all over, and it's the white man's fault, even if he's homeless and broke. When I stopped being friends with Jerry and all of her family, and Lana Ingline and all of her family, while I was in Virginia in 2016, you know what that was over? They said Colin Kaepernick should be punched in the throat. You know what I said? I said soldiers should be punched in the throat. Do you know why? Because it's equality. I wanted them to feel how it is that it made me feel when I saw that. When I saw people who I thought of as good people saying to punch a black man in the throat for standing up for black people. And yeah, I'm against that. I'm not just for black people's rights, I'm for all of our rights. I'm for equality. If I say that I want something bad to you, to happen to you, there is a reason for it, there is a lesson in it. I want you to feel how I feel. I want you to know what it feels like. But then there are things that you are never going to be able to understand. Lana Ingline is never going to understand what it's like to not have family on her side, to not be able to get help from her mother until her mother is dead. And you know what? That won't matter now because she's got free help. All those terrible things that you say about me for being disabled and for taking that money because I'm disabled. All of the terrible things you have to say about me because of that. Are you saying those things to Lana Ingline? Are you telling her what a terrible mooch she is? What a terrible human being she is? This is a woman who has ripped me off dozens of times. Well, you call me a thief. And I must be because I'm homeless. You don't want me to say things like, I hope all of the police end up homeless. I want them to know what it feels like. I want the police to have to experience the cold beyond just walking from their front door to their fucking vehicle. I want them to know what it's like to be hunted, to have everything that you earned taken from you while you have a job and you are homeless and you are trying to get out of that. You are trying to get up and out. That's what we call it. And every homeless person out there has a dream of getting up and out. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream and they shot him for it. And he's not the only one. Yes, I want people who rape people to know what that feels like. I absolutely do. I want people who victimize the homeless to know what it's like to be homeless. I want these people to know what it feels like. I am tired of being the scapegoat for all of your hatred, for all of the things that your daddy told you and you just believed him instead of going out and finding out for yourself. My dad did nothing for me in my adult life until over a year after Natalie was dead. And I went to his house and I listened to him scream at me every day and I just took it because I needed his help. I was hoping that my dad would have some compassion and see me as a human being and try to put himself in my shoes. I was hoping just one of my friends in houses would try to put themselves in my shoes. Not a single one of them did so. Not one of them. Not Miss Jerry. Not Lana. Not my dad. Not Shannon Alvarado. Nobody. And I'm a terrible monster because I screamed back at my father after, I think he said 23 days of being there. I finally yelled back at him. I got tired of my dad being condescending every time I tried to speak to him. Everyone cuts me off because I'm not worth hearing, because I'm homeless, because I am mentally ill. You hear that word enough, you learn that that's a dirty word. That's like calling a black man the N word. Matter of fact, it's worse. Do you know why? Because if I hear somebody calling a black man the N word, I'm going to speak up for him. Are they going to speak up for me? And I don't mean they, black people. I mean anyone who is around to see this. Do I really want these terrible things to happen to these people? No, but I want them to know what it feels like. Because they wish those bad things on me. Candace Bondurant is never going to know how much what she did hurt me and harmed me and fanned the flames of hatred that I have been abused over. Do I really want every police officer in America to lose a child? No, I don't. No, I do not. Do I want every single person out there who did not go looking for these missing children? Do I want them to lose their children? No, I do not. But I want them to know what it feels like. Miss Peaches, just like Shannon Alvarado, just like my dad, just like all of these other people, had advice to give me about situations that I have endured thousands of times. They endure it once, and their advice goes right out the window. They become hateful and spiteful because they can, because they have that protection. Miss Peaches has that roof over her head. She has Raja, her immediate family there. She can see her loved ones without fear of being victimized. There's a man named John who had his name slandered the same way that mine was. Did people go after John the way they came after me? No, he's huge. He tells me, Sean, you just need to let it roll off your shoulders, roll off your back. John, I'm not 350 pounds. I'm not. I'm a buck 60 at best. At best. People see me and I am littler than them. They go, I can victimize him. And I remember that from growing up. I'd get into a new place and I would start to get settled in. And some kid who hears about how prison is comes into an institution believing it's prison. The advice that he's been told is you find the biggest guy and you pick a fight with him. And he walks in there and he sees the biggest guy and he goes, oh my God, there's no way in hell. He looks at someone his size and goes, well, maybe I could take him, maybe I can't. And then he looks at me, the smallest dude there. You're damn right I'm the one that he comes after. I'm the easiest one to victimize. And maybe if he wins against me, he'll try to size up a little bit. But I'm a mean son of a bitch. And most of those people lost. I didn't start losing fights until I was 13 years old. There's a kid I was locked up with, and he happened to be black. And it was mostly black people there. And when I got into that fight with him, I beat his ass bloody. and they took away his black card. Do you know what that's like? That black kid got treated worse than I got treated. Do you know why? Because he got punked by a white boy. Instead of hating him, I felt sorry for him. And every time I got attacked by a black person after that, I let them win. Every single time. Because I knew what it felt like. I don't want bad things to happen to people, but I want them to understand what it feels like. Miss Peaches has family to hide behind, despite the fact that she did wrong. She will never admit that she did wrong. She doesn't have to, because there's no consequences for her. Just like there are no consequences for Alicia Bollinger lying outright. There are no consequences for those police officers who did those terrible things to me. There are no consequences for those public pretenders who did not do their jobs. Nobody gives a fuck about the homeless. Black Lives Matters doesn't give a fuck about the homeless. These Native American rights groups don't give a fuck about the homeless. These women's rights groups don't give a fuck about the homeless, but there are still individuals within each one of those groups who do give a fuck about the homeless. And they can speak out. No, I don't want terrible things to happen to police officers and judges and lawyers, but at the same time, terrible things happen to us every day at the hands of police officers and judges and lawyers and the general public. Black people victimize us. Native Americans victimize us. Women victimize us. And all of them have the same excuse. We have it coming. We chose it. We chose to be victimized. That is always your excuse. I did not choose your cruelty. I did not choose for Jennifer Farina Bollinger to pull her bullshit. I did not choose for Natalie and Alicia Bollinger and Rose M. Kelly to slander my name. I didn't choose for the police in Chesapeake, Virginia to not take a police report. I did not choose for them to break my vehicle. I did not choose those things. Now, each one of these people have protection. People who actually care. People who will lie for them. Meanwhile, you go back and look through all of my posts. You look through all of my messages with me and all of these people. I never once asked a single one of them to lie. Every single one I asked to come forward with the truth. Just tell the truth. That's all I'm asking. Don't hide behind the name of Jesus. Every single person who did that proved they don't believe in Jesus. From Tabitha Michelle Cook's boyfriend Graham to Alicia Bollinger to Ted Bollinger, all of these predators hid behind the name of Jesus as their excuse for what they did. Yes, I want these people to know what it feels like, because they won't listen until they have gone through it. And once they've gone through it, there is no reason for them to listen because they already know. These missing Native American women, their families already know. They already know what I go through every time one of my friends disappears. Those people in Hardin, Wyoming, or Hardin, Montana, who have had over 100 missing people in only a decade. Those people know that aspect of my life. They may not know what it's like to be homeless, but they know what it's like to lose a massive number of people they care about. Alexis Valentin, let me tell you about Alexis. She got into a vehicle with an alcoholic and she fucking died. I take responsibility for that death. Do you know why? Because I gave up my seat in that vehicle. I gave up my seat that night in that vehicle, parked over by the old Chicago's. I gave up my seat so that Alexis Valentin could go up the mountain to Nederland, Colorado to party. And she fucking died. Sitting in the seat that I gave up. You want to call me a hypocrite? No. With each and every one of these people that I'm pissed at, I gave them numerous opportunity, numerous chances. And they kept doing the same thing over and over and over again, no matter how kind I was, no matter how decent I was, they would not listen. When they got treated the way that they were treating me just once, they flipped their fucking wigs. I want you to think about how much of this punishment I have taken since I hurt my back. People that I love dearly judging me. Not just judging me, but passing judgment upon me. All of us judge, but it's the passing of judgment that is wrong. Yes, I judged many of the people that were homeless that I handed out blankets to. I judged many of them. I did. I judged them from what I saw. Yes, many of them were alcoholics. Many of them were meth heads. Many of them were addicted to heroin. Many of them were black or Native American or women. But I did not pass judgment on them. These things don't make them less than human. Even if you were a heroin addict, I gave you a blanket. Even if you were an alcoholic, I gave you a blanket. If you were a woman or a man, I gave you a blanket. If you were black or white, it didn't matter. You got a blanket. Because I know what it's like to be cold beyond just from your front door to your fucking vehicle. No, I don't want these police to have to go through this. But I want them to understand that they are literally killing people. The Boulder City Council is literally killing people. Before Natalie died, I'd been through an entire year plus of hell because they didn't want to come forward and tell the truth. Now, here's the thing, you don't get to call me a hypocrite because the difference between these people and myself is that I told the truth about them while they slandered my name and hid behind others and had other people do their dirty work. So they could say, oh, it's not my fault. With all due respect, if people are punching me in the face because you fucking lied, yes, it is your fault. You are responsible for me getting punched in the face. If your lies are spread by the news, and Officer Waylon Lolatai tries to break my arm and my wrist because of that news, and the general public have assaulted me repeatedly because of that news. Yes, you, Alicia Bollinger, are responsible for all of the violence that I have had to endure because I did not ask for any of it. I did not stalk you. I did not rape you. I did not molest you, and I did not kill you. You, Alicia Bollinger, are responsible for all of these people and the evils that they have done. Is that passing the blame on to others? Absolutely not. When I was taught how to deal with bullies, I was in the system in Colorado. In the system. And they taught us, while we were in the system, techniques that do not work. What does going to the bully get you? It gets you treated like a stalker. They play victim. What does going to the authorities do? It gets you treated like you're an animal, like you're a pussy, as my dad puts it. What does going to your friends get you? I never wanted bad things to happen to Natalie Bollinger or to Alicia Bollinger. But I do want them to understand, and it's too late for Natalie, she's dead, because she already understood all too well. The rest of you have no clue. Yeah, John had his name slandered in the same way that mine was. But people are too afraid to assault him because he's huge. He could kill them on accident, and they know it. These police officers hide behind the blue line of bullshit. Police repeatedly broke the law for the people who harmed me. Police across the United States took part in harassing me and intimidating me and making fun of me. Because I'm not a human being to your society. I'm not a human being to Black society. I'm not a human being to Native American society. I'm certainly not a human being to white society. I believe in equality. And if you having to go through the things that I have gone through is the only way for you to understand, yes, I absolutely hope that whatever it takes for you to understand, you have to go through. Whatever it takes for you to see homeless people as human beings, I hope you have to go through. It's different when you do what Darren O'Connor does, which is choose to go out for one night or maybe a week and sleep out there like a homeless person. Meanwhile, he's not going through all of the things that a homeless person has to go through. He's not stuck out there night after night. He has a home to go home to. He has family that will bail his ass out. What do I have? It's not hypocrisy. It's equality. I want bullies to know what it's like to be bullied. When I said I hope soldiers get a soldier gets punched in the throat on that post, There was a reason for it. Because what she had to say, what Tyler Frericks had to say in that post hurt me that bad. Just seeing that out of someone that I love and care about, just seeing that hurt me that badly. But instead of trying to understand the perspective, him and his friends and his family ganged up on me. I want equality. I don't want equality just for me. That's not equality. I want equality for us, regardless of your gender, regardless of your race, because we are the human race, regardless of the color of your skin. You are a human being to me. But if you are going to victimize and bully others, I will bully you back. I will stand up for the people that you are bullying. Because going to the bullies and asking them to stop will get you bullied more. Going to an authority figure will get you bullied even more. Going to your friends, if they haven't gone through it, will get you bullied by your friends. I don't agree with any of these special rights groups, but I agree with what it is they're trying to do. I agree with what Black Lives Matters is trying to do, but they need to work together with Native Americans. They need to work together with white people. They need to work together with women's rights groups because they're all trying to get the same thing. They're all bitching about equality and only trying to get special rights for the group that they identify with. I'm not gay. I'm not black. I'm not Native American. I'm not a woman. And I still stand up for all of those people because that is what equality means.